Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuznuz here, and in today's video, as by the title, we're going to go over some special attacks. Now, RuneScape is a game with many mechanics, but one that has always been very special is special attacks. Now, when EOC was released, those special attacks became much different, with some becoming much more powerful than they were before, and some of the most powerful ones becoming obsolete. RuneScape has a lot of special attacks. Some of you probably didn't even know many of these existed, and today we're going to talk about the weirdest special attacks that RuneScape 3 has to offer. So if you guys think this is a fun topic, make sure to hit that like button so I know to make more videos like this, and subscribe if you want to see them again. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So these special attacks won't be listed in any particular order, but they are all very weird in their own way. Now, the first special attack we're going to be talking about is probably the least used special attack in RuneScape, which is the Brine Saber. Now, why is the Brine Saber so weird? Well, the reason the special attack for the Brine Saber is just so weird is because, well, you can only use it underwater. Yes, you need to dive down underwater, such as the Mogre Camp, Harmony Island, but also, interestingly enough, you can use this at the Shadow Reef. I guess I knew the Shadow Reef was underwater, but I never really thought of it that way because you don't actually need any special equipment to go down there, unlike other locations where you need diving gear or like a fishbowl. Now, the Brine Saber special attack is called Liquefy. It uses 75% of your adrenaline, and it doubles the chance of a successful hit while also increasing your attack strength and defense based on how much damage you deal. So yeah, I'm not sure if anyone is going to be using this special attack with the current PvM meta or really anywhere. But something I actually found out when looking a bit deeper is these Brine Sabers used to have a glitch where you could infinitely basically boost your stats to extreme levels, I believe back in like 2017 or 2018, which just really adds to the deep and intricate lore of such a legendary weapon like the Brine Saber. So next we have the Rune Throne Axe. Now, this is something that I have not used in a long time, but I do remember it having an actual decent use. The Rune Throne Axe has the special attack called Chain Hit, which is exactly what it sounds. It bounces from target to target, dealing 100% weapon damage, and it will only consume about 10% adrenaline. Now, while this special attack seems to be pretty bad, there was some use for it. So back in the day, if you went to kill Dagannoth Kings, you'd need to kill the rocks to get by. But if you didn't have a partner with you and you were soloing, you'd have no way of killing the rock you needed to kill. But with this Rune Throne Axe, you could actually target a different rock with the axe and have the Throne Axe bounce off and hit the original rock to let you in without a partner. While this special attack is not very powerful, it did have a decent use back in the day. After this, we have the Vesta Spear. Now, many of you probably have heard of the Vesta Spear, but it has a pretty wild looking special attack, which is why I added it to this list, and that special attack is called the Spear Wall. And it looks exactly how you would imagine it. It requires 50% adrenaline, and you put up a spear wall damaging enemies in a nearby 3x3 area. But not only that, the special attack reflects 50% of damage taken for 5 seconds. It's also worth noting that this special attack degrades the Vesta Spear by 0.1%. This is one of the funnier looking specials. You're just waving around a giant spear, but safe to say it's not super useful in most scenarios, but pretty weird looking nonetheless. This brings me to something that I didn't even know existed, and that is the Lava Whip. What in God's name is a Lava Whip? A Lava Whip, I found out, is actually obtainable by using a worm spike on an Abyssal Whip, so it's basically a tier 85 whip, I think, which is pretty interesting. But the best part about the whip is the special attack, which is probably my favorite special on this list because of the name alone. The name of the special attack is the Get Over Here, and that name is for good reason. This special attack, which requires 75% adrenaline, can be used on a player and it will drag them till they're near you. You're basically lassoing another player and dragging them to you, which looks hilarious. This whip has one of the weirdest specs that I've ever seen. I think it would be just absolutely hilarious if I was in the wild doing whatever revenants and a PKer came and decided to just lasso me towards them. I think it would be super funny, and I wouldn't even mind dying trying to lasso, let's be real. So next brings us to the Staff of Darkness, which follows the theme of a worm spike. To get this staff, you actually need to use a worm heart with a Staff of Light, and then you get the Staff of Darkness. Another item that I kind of knew existed, but I didn't even know the name, was the Staff of Darkness. And this staff actually has a special attack called Power of Darkness, which will use all 100% adrenaline, and when used, all damage against a player is then reduced by 25%, and then 25% of all that damage is reflected back to the attacker for 20 seconds. So it's kind of interesting because it's sort of like a mix between the Vesta Spear and the Staff of Light. It reduces the damage taken like the Staff of Light, but then it also reflects it back like the Vesta Spear. So it's kind of a mix between those, and I thought it was kind of unique, although probably not practical for a lot of scenarios. So next we have the Ancient Mace. Now the Ancient Mace is actually one that is fairly used in RuneScape history. So the Ancient Mace has a special attack, which is the Favor of the War God, and it basically hits through Protect from melee and deals 40 to 200% ability damage, and successful attacks will drain the prayer points of the opponent by 10% and increase your own by the same percentage, even if there's no prayer points to drain. So it costs 100% adrenaline to perform. So basically this saps 10% of your opponent's prayer. Now on old school RuneScape, this is actually sort of different, as in old school RuneScape, the mace will drain the prayer points of the opponent by 100% of the amount hit and recharges the user's prayer points by the same amount. So basically in old school, this is much more powerful, but in RuneScape 3, it can still be used to smite people, most notably in the wilderness. If you have a bunch of people in a multi-combat zone come up to you and Ancient Mace you, they can drop your prayer pretty low or smite you. So I have seen this mace used a lot before, mostly in old school RuneScape, but I'm sure it is used in RuneScape 3, you know, in the wilderness sometimes, although I'm not sure if there's enough action, enough PKing clans around that are going to go around trying to smite people with this, but it is a really interesting spec in the history of RuneScape. So finally, we have the Noxious Weapons, which all share a special attack named Mirrorback. Now, this special attack is not very useful at all. I don't know in any case which people have actually used it successfully or to their benefit. It's actually something that I used to use by accident, and it would make me really mad. So I would have my special attack button and I meant to switch to a Gothic Staff. This was before EOF was out, and I would accidentally spec with my Noxious Staff, use all my adrenaline, and just be all around mad. So this will actually summon a Mirrorback. It costs 100% adrenaline, and you get a Mirrorback Spider actually summoned, which is kind of weird to say the least. And while active, the spider will reduce the damage against you by 50% and then deflect it back, but the spider will also continue being damaged as well. So it's kind of weird. It's another one of those, you know, deflecting and absorbing damage things, but in this case, it actually summons a Mirrorback Spider from a Raxor and kind of uses the same mechanics as the Mirrorback Spider does. So it makes sense in that way, but it's just kind of weird, and it's also shared between all the Noxious Weapons, which I also think is a bit weird because you could have them all have different things, but I guess they just all do this. And then on the same note as summoning something, we have the Staff of Sliske, which has a special attack called From the Shadows. Now the sad part is we have the ZGS and the Saren Godbow, which are absolutely amazing special attacks, and then we have this from the Staff of Sliske. The Staff of Sliske is already a pretty weak weapon as is with all the new magic stuff that is out. But now, you know, with the spec being so horrible, it's even weaker. This spec actually summons a Shadow Clone, and this Shadow Clone comes from the Shadow Realm, and it'll basically attack your target, dealing 20 to 100% ability damage for each attack, and it costs 50% adrenaline. You can't summon multiple clones, but the clone does have a 100% hit chance, which I guess is kind of good. But yeah, there are a lot of very weird special attacks in RuneScape. I didn't include any that were super good because I don't know if that classifies as weird. I kind of wanted to go for the unknown ones that you guys may have forgotten even existed. Another honorable mention could be like the Brackish Blade, but it's very similar to the Brine Saber. But if you remember that the Brackish Blade exists, let me know, because I did not even remember that till I saw it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this video idea. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more videos. I thought it was fun to look back, and I really love the Lava Whip. That special attack is my favorite thing ever. Let me know what other special attacks you find kind of weird or out of place in the game, and I'll see you all in the next video.